Focus. What is it? Ready?
Mechana creve mopa. Tamasuna ramga ma chochane. Anta screen sochi. Norcha hereme chok windido.
can't believe we just blew up Godo's yacht. That's gonna destabilize crime throughout this whole sector.
Yeah, well, you'll understand if I hold back the tears.
You don't understand. Crime in the YouTube system, it's like the economy. Plus the power vacuum. Even if Voga gets up and running again, the system is gonna be feeling the effects for years to come.
Yeah, well, at least we didn't find that Jedi Master with the weird name. Zez, Kai, whatever it is.
Zez Kyle? Well, that's not true. I already found him. Actually, he found me first. He hired me to watch out for you, keep Godo off your back until he could meet with you. We'll need to head back to Nar Shaddaa, to that safe house off the docks. I said I'd meet up with him there if we ran into any trouble. What do you want now?
If you thought to escape my notice so easily, you would be wrong. As a token of my goodwill, I present to you a gift, this droid. It will serve you well on your journey. I'm afraid I do not understand what you mean. As I indicated, this unit will remain with you and guard you. It will also serve as an effective voice for my orders during your journey.
So, you have returned from exile. Kavar thought you might, if only to wander your old battlegrounds. But I did not think you would come to Nar Shaddaa. Still, you were always a difficult one to read, both when you were tied to the Force, and even more when it was lost to you. I do not know. It was a sense he had, and he had served in war, as you had. Perhaps he thought he understood you, or maybe he simply hoped he did. He felt you were the key to understanding the threat we face. The others were not so certain, but so many of them are gone now, as you no doubt know. He sensed some connection between you and many of the worlds touched by war. He thought by traveling to such places, he could achieve understanding. No doubt. I think the answers will provide us both with some measure of peace. I have kept secrets for far too long. They have scattered, but there is purpose in their movements. It is both to hunt and draw out our enemies. Somehow, we, are being targeted through the Force, and when Jedi gather, we are vulnerable. So we have chosen places where it is difficult to sense others through the Force, whether on planets dense with life, or touched by war. In such places, we may conceal ourselves, gather information, without presenting ourselves as targets. It was part of Kavar's plan. Yes, he felt if our enemy cannot detect us, then perhaps they would believe themselves victorious and show themselves. And we knew that the war would be lost if we continued to act as we had. I do not know where they wander now. There are few of us, though. Too few. And I have not heard from them in some time. Atris, but I had thought she had gone to Qatar with the others. Yes, she holds the last of the Jedi teachings. It is good she survived. What I can tell you, I will. It is a long story, but there is no harm in you knowing, and someone should know. Only a handful of us remained after the Jedi Civil War, barely 100 in number. Then, even that 100 began to vanish, in places where the Force seemed blind. The only pattern we determined is that when Jedi gathered, they were seen no more. At the last Jedi conclave on the Miraluka world of Qatar, the entire planet was wiped out, an entire race destroyed, because the Jedi chose to gather there. It was only then that we realized we were facing something far more powerful than we knew how to fight. We could not allow the fact that when we gathered, we placed everything around us at risk. A Jedi's life is sacrifice, but we cannot allow our presence or actions to endanger others. And we cannot fight an enemy that will not reveal itself. But any Jedi, anyone who is strong in the Force, who attempted to track down such a threat, vanished without a trace. It does, but you must step back to see it. Whatever this threat was, it was targeting us and everything around us. Yet it was somehow weak enough that it was afraid to confront us openly. If it believed us defeated, then perhaps it would finally show itself. It was a faint hope, but it was the best we had. It was Kavar's plan. He was always the greatest tactician among us, and had seen war more than the rest of us. Very well. We told you it was because you followed Revan to war, but you ask because you are not certain of that answer. Nor were we. The day we cast you out, that is the moment I decided to leave the Order, because I do not believe we truly faced the reasons you were exiled, and if we do not examine such truths, then we are already lost. I think it was because we were afraid. It is a difficult thing to live one's life with the Force. To see a vision of what it would be like to be severed from it, it is more frightening than you know. Very well. Ah, so the records of your trial were found. Good. Sometimes I think this galaxy would be a better place if there were less Jedi secrets. But I have no answer for you, as much as I would like to give one. We vowed never to speak of it, and although I would not keep promises to Jedi, I keep promises I make to others. And Kavar was a friend. If we were gathered as one, then the promise might be revoked. Until then, I can say nothing. Very well. Yes, such bonds are a connection that can be formed at moments of crisis, or in the slow understanding that grows between master and apprentice. It is most common between two beings who are sensitive to the Force. It allows the transmission of feelings, of influence. It was something you were gifted with, as I recall, before your fall. You formed such attachments easier than most, even to those who could feel the Force only faintly. Even Vrook could not ignore it, which is saying something. I do not know. A bond between two living beings is not something easily broken. It is not a choice. It is like breaking a feeling, like turning away from the Force. To break a bond, your feelings would have to change, or one of you would have to die. But even then, the bond wouldn't go away. It would simply be empty. A wound. Very well. Is that what you think? We did no such thing, but it is a technique that has been used as punishment in the past, yes. It is a rare sentence, and to my knowledge it has only been done once, at a moment where a Jedi discipline has failed. What caused your loss, I fear, was different. I am not certain I understand it. We did not understand it fully then, and only recently do I feel we may have become enlightened. The other masters may have more knowledge of this, but I do not, and I do not know if they even live. Does it matter? It seems your power has returned. Perhaps the loss was not a loss at all. Now I must take up the role I was ready to cast aside. This threat has finally revealed itself, and we Jedi will need to stand together. I did not speak fully of what I have felt. Staying on Nar Shaddaa, it is an exile of sorts, one that I have chosen. I, too, lost a Padawan on Malachor, not to the battle, but to the alternative, to the teachings that Revan brought from the unknown regions. And I was not the only Jedi Master to watch a student turn on them. No, they were not to blame, but many of the Order did so. It was a difficult time, a time of strong emotion. Perhaps the Council, perhaps the Order itself, had grown arrogant in their teachings. It is easy to cast blame, but it is perhaps time the Order accepted responsibility for their teachings and their arrogance and come to recognize that perhaps we are flawed. Not once did I hear one of the Council claim responsibility for Revan, for Exar Kun, for Ulik, for Malak, or for you. Yet, you were the only one who came back from the wars to face our judgment. And rather than attempting to understand why you did what you did, we punished you instead. Our one chance to see where we had gone wrong, and we cast it aside. And now, that decision has come back to us and may carry with it our destruction. Perhaps there is something wrong in us, in our teachings, and though I tried, I could not cause that thought to leave me, so I left the Council. And I was not the only one. That is why many scattered, and why many in the Republic do not trust us, and why we do not trust ourselves. Make no mistake, I am no Jedi. This is the end, you see. After this, there will be nothing, and I think it will be for the best. Do you wish to do battle now? I have nothing more to say. It provides no comfort at all, for reasons in which I still must keep secret. Suffice to say, redemption was not Revan's choice, and I have never believed those of the Council who attempt to console themselves otherwise for the crime they committed. But we have spoken enough, I think, and words, I think, dull us both. Let us speak through the Force, through sparring. This Yen form should prove appropriate. Its best use is when you are outnumbered, which I fear suits our predicament perfectly. You will find it easier to deflect blaster fire with this form, and it shall also guard you against critical strikes by your opponents. Perhaps exile has been good to you indeed. It has certainly not dulled your instincts, nor the speed at which you learn. I shall go to Dantooine, to the ruins of the Enclave. If you gather the others, I will meet you there. And thank you, Exile. You're returning. It is good that you are back among us.
Any chance you've heard some word of my wife? What? I always feared that was what happened. At least now I know. It's strange you came by when you did. I was right at the edge of deciding whether to give up, turning it over in my mind, and suddenly, you walked through the door and gave me the answer I needed to hear. I'll remember that. Thanks again, stranger. Thanks again, stranger. I won't forget what you've done for me.
Unnecessary observation. Targets acquired. Annoying recitation. Let us proceed to facilitate communications. Recitation. And bring about the termination of hostilities. Systems failing, Master. Systems failing, Master. Unnecessary observation. Targets acquired. Annoying recitation. Let us proceed to facilitate communications. Recitation. And bring about the termination of hostilities. Ratio achieved. Systems failing, Master. Optimal accuracy ratio achieved. Optimal accuracy ratio achieved. Systems failing, Master. Systems failing, Master.
Yes. That is how flesh and blood fights. Let me show you how one fights when one's life is the Force.
I won't let you harm him. I have heard of your kind. You worship strength, when all it does is rot you from within.
You echo another's words, and as an echo it lacks strength. Who is it who has taught you of the Sith?
I will not reveal my mistress, and I will not allow you to harm the one I travel with.
I cannot harm him. His wound lies deeper than any blade could reach. That is why I follow him, and protect him.
Protect him? I do not believe you.
You do not believe that I would follow him to death. Certainly you have read as much in my movements as I have in yours. There's no shame in your feelings, Sister of the Echani.
Be silent! You know nothing of what you speak.
You are alone, and wounded in your own way. I can feel its pulse, like a heartbeat from the past. But if you will not believe that I mean him no harm, then believe this. I wish to learn from him. I wish to learn how it is he still walks, when his spirit is nothing more than a shell. When you feel as though the Force, as if life itself has abandoned you. I had a question for you, Sister of the Echani. The exile. What does he look like?
Like a man, but it is more than that. And I do not have the words. He shows kindness, both small and great, to strangers. He does this without hesitation. He has accepted me, even though he and my mistress are not allies. All I know is he makes me doubt the words of my mistress, one whom I have pledged to serve.
Such feelings are not unknown to me.
And I fear such doubts. Could it be my mistress was wrong about him? That perhaps he did not seek to betray the Order? That perhaps my mistress felt as I did, and when he left the Order, she found that she doubted as well. There is a feeling that emanates from him, like a sound from far away, that has traveled a vast distance to reach here.
Like an echo. Your words are well chosen, Sister of the Ichani. I will not harm him. But it is not me you should fear. There are darker things in the galaxy than a blind one such as I.
I don't know what the two of you are arguing about. I caught him. He's mine. But it's obvious you two need some advice, so let me lay out the attack pattern for you. It's simple. When you want a man, you jab him with a Bothan stunner, then while he's screaming in pain, slap some stun cuffs on him. Then, starve him for 2 or 3 days until he becomes open to suggestion, then double-check his bounty and see if he's worth anything.
That sounds more like hunting.
Call it what you want. Me, I love my targets.
Something troubles you, servant of Atris.
Leave me be.
I have seen what you have seen, the slow seduction of the Sith. Perhaps we are more allies than you know. I fear the exile has let his feelings for the Miraluka affect his judgment, and it will doom him.
There is still hope.
I do not believe so, and neither do you. You have seen his stance, his movements. They mirror hers, not yours. But do not mistake my intent. We are together in this, and if we stand together, we may yet prevent a greater tragedy.
I do not believe you, and I do not trust you.
What you think is of no concern. What the exile thinks is what should concern us.